Okay, so picture this. Southern Spain. You're at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountains.
And you come across this palace.
Yeah, just any palace, right?
Yeah.
This one's massive, like a whole city crammed inside.
That's the Alhambra we're diving into today in Granada. And here's the twist: we're using these descriptions in Arabic.
Like our own little decoder ring for this place.
Yeah.
So what kind of picture do these Arabic sources paint? What stuck out to you?
Get ready for sensory overload, seriously. The way they describe the gardens, the water features, it's incredibly vivid. And it's not just pretty. These things were deeply symbolic in Islamic tradition.
Oh, I bet. Tell me more about that. What's the significance of water?
So water in Islamic architecture, it represents life, purity, even paradise. And when you read how they describe the Alhambra's fountains, it's clear they weren't just decoration. For example, they talk about the Fountain of the Lions and the Court of the Lions.
Okay, I was just picturing a simple fountain, but with a name like that.
Right. It's this elaborate structure, 12 stone lions around a central basin.
12. That's so specific. Is there a meaning behind that?
You picked up on that. The number 12 is huge in Islamic cosmology. 12 tribes of Israel, 12 signs of the zodiac, 12 months. That fountain's a whole cosmic diagram, not just waterworks.
I never would have thought there was that much in just a fountain.
Yeah.
So we've got these symbolic water features. What other details make the Alhambra come alive in this source?
One thing that got me was how much they talk about light and shadow. They describe sunlight shining through these carved screens, mashrabiyah, making these crazy patterns.
Mashrabiyah, never heard of them.
They're these gorgeous wooden screens, like lattice work, common in Islamic architecture. Privacy, shade, but they also make light do amazing things inside all day long.
This building is practically breathing with the light then.
Exactly. And it wasn't just the mashrabiyah. This text also mentions they used zellage tile work everywhere.
Zellage. Okay, now you're just showing off the vocab. What's that?
Think mosaics, but next level. Intricate patterns, colorful glazed tiles, the details unbelievable. These geometric designs going on for ever. And again, it's not just decoration. Those complex patterns, they reflect how important math was to them, the infinite nature of God, all that care.
It's wild. Every little thing has a deeper meaning. You really get a sense of the artistry, the thinking that went into every inch of this place.
Absolutely. But it's not just grand structures and fancy details that make the Alhambra fascinating. It's the people who lived there, ruled there, made it their own.
Yes. Can't forget about the human element.
Mm.
So who were these people who called the Alhambra home? What can you tell us about them?
Well, we've got to remember, the Alhambra, it wasn't just a palace, right? It was a whole city, basically, bustling with life, marketplaces, bathhouses, mosques, you name it. And then, yeah, the palaces too.
So a real mix of people, all walks of life, all in one place.
Oh, absolutely. You had the Sultan and his family, obviously, living it up in their palaces with gardens and courtyards like we were talking about. But then you also had the courtiers, the scholars, artists, soldiers, servants, everyone, a whole little society tucked away inside these walls.
Each with their own part to play in the Alhambra's story. And this is where I think it gets really cool. This Arabic text, it's focused on the physical spaces, sure. But there are these little clues about the people who were there too.
You're right. It's there between the lines. Like there's this mention of separate bathhouses, one for the rulers, one for everyone else. Might seem like a small detail, but it says a lot about how hierarchy worked in the Alhambra.
It's like this built-in reminder of who held the power, even in something as everyday as a bath. And speaking of power, the sultans themselves, who were these guys, the ones who built this incredible place?
So the Alhambra, it reached its peak under the Nasrid Dynasty. They were ruling Granada back in the 13th, 14th centuries. And these guys, they weren't just rulers, they were patrons of the arts, sciences, the whole nine yards. They wanted the Alhambra to show off just how powerful and how cultured they were.
And it definitely does that. It's like their legacy is stamped on every wall. I can only imagine the stories those walls could tell. Are there any hints in the source about the Sultans' lives or what happened at the Alhambra?
It's true, the text mostly sticks to describing the place itself, but you can piece some things together. For example, it mentions this one chamber, they call it the Hall of the Two Sisters.
Okay, why two sisters?
Well, the story goes, there are these two identical marble slabs on the floor there, and the legend says the hall got its name from, wait for it, a tragic love story, of course.
Had to be a love story, right? Laid on me.
So supposedly, two princesses, sisters, both fell for the same guy, this handsome knight.
Oh, I already see where this is going. Forbidden love never ends well. What happened?
Yeah, you guessed it. Their love was a big no-no. And let's just say it doesn't have a happy ending. The legend claims these two sisters, heartbroken, totally torn apart, they died on those very slabs of marble that give the hall its name. drama, right?
Talk about a story etched in stone. Whether it's true or not, it just adds this whole other dimension to the Alhambra. Suddenly, those mosaics aren't just pretty. The courtyards aren't so peaceful anymore. There's this like bittersweet feeling to the whole place now.
Exactly. And that's what's so amazing about a place like this. It's not just about the stones and the mortar. It's about what happened there, the lives lived, the emotions, everything, all woven together.
The enduring power of a place. Centuries later, the Alhambra still got it, still captivating people, transporting them back in time. But it's also more than just a beautiful relic, isn't it? It's this powerful symbol of how cultures interact, how different civilizations blended together. What
Yeah.
can you tell us about that side of things? It really makes you think about the Alhambra as this amazing blend of cultures, this mashup of architectural styles.
Yeah, it's not like they were building in a vacuum back then. What you see in the Alhambra, it's centuries of Islamic and European cultures all smashing together on the Iberian Peninsula. You've got the Islamic architecture, sure, the patterns, the water features, the calligraphy, but then there's stuff borrowed from older buildings too, Visigothic, even Roman.
It's like they're having this conversation through time, but with architecture instead of words.
Exactly. That's why studying old buildings is so cool. It's not just about the building itself, it's a reflection of everything that came before it. All the different people and cultures who had a hand in it.
History's not a straight line, that's for sure. More like a messy, beautiful jumble.
And the Alhambra, it's a perfect example. I mean, think about where it is, Granada. That was a major city in Al-Andalus, that whole Muslim-ruled part of Spain for centuries.
And even after the Reconquista, when the Catholic monarchs took over, they didn't just tear the Alhambra down.
They could have, easily, but they saw something there, something worth saving. They even added their own touches, renovations, but in their own style.
A real testament to, like, respecting what came before, even when times change, cultures clash, all that.
It's a good lesson for us, right? The world can feel pretty divided sometimes, but the Alhambra is this reminder that we can appreciate beauty no matter where it comes from.
That beauty can overcome anything, really. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the Alhambra, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away? One image, one idea, anything.
Close your eyes for a sec. Imagine you're in the Court of the Lions. Feel that cool air, smell those fragrant plants, hear the water splashing from the fountain, sunlight's coming through those arches all around you, making patterns on the ground. It's beautiful, but it's more than that. It connects you back to all those people, all that history, all the skill and artistry that went into creating this place. Beauty like that, it lasts.
The Alhambra might be centuries old, but it's still whispering its stories. It's an invitation to explore, to let yourself be amazed by its beauty, to think about all the ways humans create and inspire each other, even across time and cultures. That's what makes these deep dives so fascinating, wouldn't you say?
Love what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share it with others. Your support fuels the journey for more awesome content.